Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Happy Stepcouple, How Couples with Stepchildren Can Strengthen Their Relationships, by Rachelle Katz. Narrated by Coleen Marlo. Publisher's note. In this audio edition, you will hear references to tables present in the print and ebook formats of the book. Introduction. The Happy Stepcouple is designed to help couples with children from prior relationships thrive despite the complexity of stepfamily life. As you know, it isn't easy to form a relationship that doesn't begin with a clean slate. In fact, a number of issues you and other stepcouples juggle, financial constraints, ongoing conflicts with former spouses, disagreements about parenting styles, among many others, can make it downright challenging, especially since you may have had to face them before you and your partner had the chance to learn how to work well as teammates. Because of the number of challenges stepcouples encounter, it probably won't surprise you to learn that they experience 3 times more stress than couples in first unions, and the stress is so intense that more than 2/3 break up within the first few years of committing to each other. This accounts for far more relationships than you might imagine. In the United States, more than 42 million adults have married more than once. While it is not known how many of these remarriages form stepfamilies, estimates indicate that approximately 2/3 of remarried women are biological mothers or stepmothers, and about half of this group resides with stepchildren. This accounts for millions of women, and this figure considers only those who are remarried. Many more stepcouples choose to live together without being married, as cohabitation has become a more common alternative rather than a precursor to remarriage. As the number of stepcouple relationships continues to multiply each year, so does the number of those that are short-lived. This is a problem of epidemic proportion that must be addressed since everyone in a family suffers when these relationships end. There is some good news. If stepcouple relationships last longer than 5 years, the odds of staying together greatly improve. Even better news? By learning how to strengthen their emotional connection with each other, most stepcouples can withstand the trials and tribulations of stepfamily life and thrive within it. The Happy Stepcouple is a comprehensive and practical guide that will show you how. This book is unique. Other self-help books focus on ways to overcome specific stepfamily challenges, such as boundary violations and insider-outsider issues, problems created when one partner is excluded from the interfamily circle. Unfortunately, resolving these problems is only half the battle of restoring harmony between partners, since it does not address and repair the real reasons why these relationships fail. The Happy Stepcouple offers a revolutionary approach to overcoming stepfamily problems and strengthening a stepcouple's bond by examining the 2 primary reasons why so many of these relationships get in trouble. Want to know what these are and what you need to do to prevent this from happening to you? In my opinion, stepcouples experience problems because partners fail to understand, agree to, and fulfill each other's unspoken needs and expectations. First, when expectations do not match up to one's reality, each partner becomes frustrated and disappointed. Second, the way they then communicate about their feelings inadvertently increases each other's insecurity levels, damaging the most important ingredient in a relationship, feeling safe and secure with each other. Both of these factors fray emotional bonds far more than the specific problems the couples encounter. The genesis of the Happy Stepcouple. This project is a continuation of my interest in and work with stepfamilies. Though I had been a licensed marriage and family therapist for several years, I only became aware of the unique challenges facing stepfamilies when I married my husband, who at the time had a 4-year-old daughter. I believed, like many others, that over time our family would be indistinguishable from traditional ones, and I was surprised that my attempts to create an inclusive, loving home were met with such difficulty. I wondered if I was doomed to feel like an outsider forever, and blamed myself for my family's inability to blend. At the same time, I began to work with other stepmothers in my psychotherapy practice. I observed a common thread. Just like me, they joined their new families with lots of enthusiasm, energy, and dedication, but quickly became exhausted and depressed, after failing to integrate their new families. While they understood it would take time to form a new family, they weren't prepared for the task to prove impossible. They blamed themselves when family members didn't bond, and a pervasive sadness overtook their lives. To better help these stepmothers overcome their depression, restore their self-esteem, and create happy families, I began researching stepfamilies in general, and stepmothers in particular. Only a limited number of books were available on this topic, so I decided to conduct my own research. I created a website called Steps for Stepmothers that included a space where stepmothers could give each other support and advice. To obtain more in-depth data, I asked them to fill out a lengthy questionnaire. To attract stepmothers, I advertised my new site on Google. Incredibly, more than 3,000 stepmothers answered the questionnaire within the first year, and another 3,000 filled it out by the second. From this research and from my experience as a psychotherapist and stepmother, I wrote The Happy Stepmother to share what I learned. I hoped that stepmothers would realize the title of my book does not have to be an oxymoron. After The Happy Stepmother was published, I sponsored workshops for stepmothers and their partners. It quickly became apparent that stepmothers were not the only family members who needed help. Their partners also lived with fears, anxieties, and insecurities. They were racked by guilt that they inadvertently harmed their children by getting divorced. They were also scared that their children would be unwilling to spend time with them if they imposed too many rules in their home. These concerns interfered with effective parenting and caused problems in their new relationships. The step couples who attended my workshops were kind people who were doing their best under difficult circumstances. They loved each other very much, yet were overwhelmed by their family's challenges. Even though each step couple had different problems with which to contend, they shared many of the same feelings. They were afraid the damage to their relationship was beyond repair, and they felt dispirited at the prospect of another failed relationship. I knew through my work that most couples just need help strengthening their emotional connection with each other, and that there were practical solutions they could use to support each other more fully. I started this book to help them do so. I began by researching books and articles in the fields of social psychology, communication, parent education, and marriage and family therapy. I also developed a new comprehensive online questionnaire designed specifically for step couples in order to gain as much subjective data as possible. I asked participants to share information about their problems and how they handled them. I also asked for their suggestions to help other step couples with similar problems. More than 1,275 people completed questionnaires in only a few months. The results provided me with a greater understanding of step-family life and an appreciation of the determination, devotion, and commitment step couples need to form new families. I am so grateful to all the participants who gave their time and effort and who were willing to disclose intimate details of their lives with frankness and honesty. Survey participants shared that they experienced 6 major problem areas. 1. Dealing with their former partners. 2. Juggling finances. 3. Parenting stepchildren who have academic, behavioral, or interpersonal problems, or who are emotionally distant or disrespectful. 4. Navigating boundary issues. 5. Working through differences in parenting styles. 6. Facing insider-outsider issues. I will give examples of these problem areas throughout the book, along with suggestions for diminishing their negative impact on your life. To protect everyone's privacy, I have changed names and modified certain details about the couples I describe. Please also note that for ease of writing, I alternate male and female pronouns by chapter, but in all cases the material relates to all genders. 3 steps to a stronger relationship. To help build a strong, loving relationship, the Happy Stepcouple offers 3 steps, each encompassing a section of the book. The first step involves examining and recalibrating the cultural expectations most step couples believe they must adopt in order to have a successful family. The second step is communicating with your partner in ways that instill confidence that you'll be at each other's side forever. This section of the book highlights the importance of feeling safe and secure in a relationship and provides exercises to help you develop more security. Lastly, the third step is learning how to deal with the most common step-couple problems in ways that bolster each partner's security level. Together, these 3 steps can help you build and maintain a solid relationship. Let's break them down a little further. Step 1. Revise unrealistic expectations. Many couples struggle to live up to an idealized vision of what they think family life should be. When they can't achieve that vision, they feel disappointment and frustration, fights that ensue, and the way couples handle these conflicts can threaten the longevity of their relationship. This section will show you how to avoid that trap. You'll learn to identify and discuss your expectations of each other. Understand the importance of reaching a consensus on the roles you adopt. Recognize and accept that a good enough stepfamily can be successful and fully functional. Carve out quality time with your partner. Establish an open and fair financial arrangement with your partner. And redefine your role as a step-parent. Secure couples don't have fewer problems than others, nor do they work harder than other couples to solve their problems. But they do know how to demonstrate kindness, affection, and support to each other. They value and cherish their relationship and make it a priority. They focus on working on solvable problems and ignore those they cannot resolve. They know how to discuss sensitive issues without making each other feel inadequate. They also know the importance of creating positive experiences together. They have fun together during their leisure time and set aside time to go on dates. These seemingly small, everyday behaviors give their relationship strength that helps them endure and survive hard times. Step 2. Improve communication. Though love is fundamental to starting a romantic relationship, surprisingly, feelings of safety and security are needed to sustain one for the long haul. To explain why partners feel either safe or unsafe with each other, the Happy Stepcouple analyzes step-couple relationships through the lens of attachment theory and helps you improve your communication by understanding and modifying your emotional attachment styles. Attachment theory is a concept that examines different ways that infants form attachments to their primary caregivers, and how these differences shape the way adults think about, behave, and communicate in relationships. Notably, attachment theory addresses how adults respond to partners during conflicts. Some of us tend to react in a secure manner, while others respond in an anxious or avoidant manner. The clash of attachment styles during disagreements can exacerbate each of our insecurities and make us wonder if we can trust our partner to be on our side. Heightened insecurities weaken partners' bonds with each other, often to the extent that the relationship fails. To help you feel more safe and secure in your relationship, the Happy Stepcouple provides several confidence-building exercises to boost your security level, techniques to reduce anger and other defensive feelings that impair your ability to listen to your partner during fights, and ways to modify outdated beliefs that limit your intimacy with your partner. It also provides a set of communication tools and buffering techniques to utilize during conflicts to prevent your partner's security level from diminishing. These practices will enable you and your partner to overcome the damage caused by clashing attachment styles and strengthen your emotional bond. You will be able to create a relationship that becomes a circle of safety from which to ward off dangers together. This section will help you understand how the step-couple shuffle affects your relationship. Identify your predominant emotional attachment reaction. Recognize your partner's and your communication pattern during times of conflict. Learn how to boost your level of security. Learn how to increase your partner's feelings of safety and security during conflicts. And improve communication with your partner during conflicts. Step 3. Address your specific step-couple challenges. Lastly, we examine how secure partners deal with common step-family problems, including insider-outsider issues, jealousy, boundary violations, and power imbalances in ways that promote kindness, compassion, and respect. From these examples, you can extrapolate ways to most effectively deal with your challenges. This section will help you learn how to do the waltz of intimacy. Identify and overcome insider-outsider issues in a secure manner. Soothe your partner's jealousy. Establish healthy boundaries with family and friends. And share power equitably with your partner. Can you benefit from this book? Let me ask you a few questions about your experience in your stepfamily. Do you and your partner argue so much about stepfamily issues that it interferes with having fun together? Do you and your partner struggle to compromise when making decisions? During times of conflict, do you and your partner feel like adversaries? Do you and your partner spend too much time criticizing each other? Does your relationship feel unbalanced? Does one of you have more control? Do you work so hard in your stepfamily that you have no time for other activities? Do you frequently resent your partner? Have you thought about ending your relationship? Do you and your partner no longer feel safe and secure with each other? If you answered yes to just one question, you can improve your relationship by listening to this book. It will give you evidence-based ways to revise unattainable expectations, learn how to handle conflicts, improve your communication, and build trust in each other. Armed with this knowledge, you will be able to successfully face any challenge your family may encounter. Help is on the way. I bet you and your partner are exhausted from dealing with and arguing about problems in your stepfamily and need an emotional reset to let go of negative emotions caused by past arguments. The Happy Stepcouple will help you replace negative feelings with positive ones. There is never one simple fix to any one problem. This is especially true for stepfamily challenges. Each stepfamily is composed of different people of various ages, related to each other through diverse lineages. Your stepfamily has specific problems that require their own tailor-made solutions. I will present you with many suggestions throughout this book. Implement the ones that are most relevant for your situation. By applying small changes to your life, you can create a healthy, loving partnership. Let's begin your journey of healing. Step 1. Revise unrealistic expectations. 1. Stepfamily fallacies. Our expectations play a powerful role in all aspects of our lives. They shape our career goals and influence our choice of friends. Our self-esteem is largely based on whether or not we live up to the expectations we set for ourselves. We form an impression of partners from our notions of an ideal relationship. If, for example, you believe couples should spend all their leisure time together, then you will be upset if your partner plays golf with friends every Sunday. However, if you think couples should spend some time apart doing things they individually love, then you will feel fine when your partner spends an afternoon doing so. Most of us accept our expectations and the emotions they produce without question. We don't consider how large a role they play in our experience of everyday life, whether we are content or distressed. While some of our expectations are realistic, others are merely ideals that are hard to achieve, setups for disappointment and frustration. In the next few chapters, we will examine your expectations for your stepfamily, for your relationship with your partner, and for your role as a parent. Let's begin by examining how some common stepfamily expectations create problems for many of us. Several unrealistic expectations trip up many stepcouples. The most destructive one is that successful stepfamilies need to blend and be indistinguishable from traditional families. Another is that stepparents must love their stepchildren as much as their own. And some stepparents believe they must fill the role of parent when their stepchildren spend time with them, a role that their stepchildren may object to and resist. These expectations are based on myths, not on reality. I bet you have really tried to meet your expectations about stepfamily life and are exhausted and frustrated. Striving to achieve an impossible goal is wearisome. and ultimately, a waste of valuable time. The truth is, by reframing your expectations to make them attainable and by redefining your role in the family, you can create a happy, thriving family life. The more aligned our expectations are with reality, the more content we are. What should a stepfamily be? Expectations of your stepfamily should not be shaped through the lens of traditional families. Stepfamilies are different, no better or worse. As you know, stepfamilies are extremely varied. There are those with stepfathers, those with stepmothers, and those in which both partners are stepparents. Stepfamilies can be composed of either heterosexual or same-sex couples who are married or live together. Children can live in a stepfamily full-time, split their time between their parents' homes, or visit one parent's home occasionally. Stepfamilies can include members of multiple races and multiple religions, and can consist of several generations. Despite the unique nature of stepfamilies, most of us automatically accept that all stepfamilies should blend over time to become similar to traditional ones. We believe we just need to swap old partners for new ones, who then will fill the same roles as our former partners. We expect that family members eventually will mix together harmoniously, similar to a choir whose voices meld in synchrony. But in our quest to blend, we never stop to question if the traditional family is even ideal. As we know, many traditional families aren't as happy and functional as we imagine, and thus we are striving for something that is more romanticized than real. More important, we set ourselves up for disappointment by trying to become just like traditional families because the ability to blend is not entirely in our own control. It depends on stepfamily members' openness to forming relationships with each other. What's more, stepfamilies are different. Comparing our families to traditional ones is like comparing the proverbial apples and oranges. The expectation to blend. Blending has become the benchmark of stepfamily success. Those who have attained this status can boast about it, while those of us whose members mingle like oil and water can feel like failures. We would be far happier if we changed this benchmark to something that better reflects the true nature of stepfamilies. We could then celebrate in our stepfamily's uniqueness. You might wonder where the widespread belief that stepfamilies should look exactly like traditional ones came from. The mental health community popularized this concept to replace the negative connotations associated with the word step. Just think about how stepmothers have been portrayed as wicked and evil for centuries. By adding blended to our cultural lexicon, the community hoped that stepfamilies would no longer be perceived as inferior to traditional ones. This relabeling was based on the best of intentions, and it was a long overdue attempt to give stepfamilies equal status to traditional ones. Unfortunately, it isn't a realistic or accurate label, and it has caused many stepfamilies to feel as though they have failed. Listen to what respondents to my online questionnaire had to say about it. I foolishly thought we could blend. The word is a misnomer. We are less blended now than 10 years ago. We are surely not the Brady Bunch. It is so much more difficult than I ever imagined. We're like two separate families living in the same house. We haven't bonded with each other's children as I'd hoped. Barriers to blending. While a few stepfamilies do find the harmony of the traditional family, the way most form prevents total blending. Stepfamilies come together after some or all of their members suffer losses and changes due to divorce or death, and it takes time to grieve and adjust to any loss. Some family members find it hard to move on from this painful time, and all it takes is one person to feel angry, sad, or resentful to prevent an entire stepfamily from blending. Here's one example. Ava, a new bride, was very concerned that her new stepfamily was doomed to fail because her husband's ex-wife had no interest in meeting her. She wondered how she could build a loving relationship with her stepson if his mother would not acknowledge her. She didn't understand why his mother would refuse to meet her, a person with whom her child spent 50% of his time. After all, Ava was not responsible for the breakup of her husband's first marriage. She hadn't even met him until a few years after his divorce. Ava wasn't expecting to become friends with his ex-wife, but based on both personal and cultural expectations that stepfamilies should blend, She believed they needed to develop an amicable, cooperative relationship to best care for her young stepson. I explained to Ava that blending might not be the healthiest or most desirable option for her family if her stepson's mother could not behave civilly in Ava's presence. Her stepson might be spared the unnecessary stress of witnessing this tension, as ongoing conflict between parents is very harmful to children. I asked Ava to think about the traditional families she knew. How many of them seemed happy and functional? How many were dysfunctional? She quietly considered this question for several minutes and said maybe 1/3 to 1/2 were functional. I then asked why she was worried that her marriage would fail when at least half of the intact families she knew did not measure up to her standard, and yet they stayed together. If she were to include all traditional families, from fully dysfunctional to fully functional, in her comparison, she might not be so nervous hers would fail. I reassured Ava that blending is not a prerequisite for happiness. She could be very happy in her stepfamily without a relationship with her husband's ex. In fact, many stepmothers would consider her lucky that she didn't have to deal with an ex, many of whom can be intrusive and troublesome. It took Ava a little time to accept that her family was not going to fit into the idealistic model set forth by society. When she did accept this, she was no longer embarrassed and felt more secure in her relationship. The dynamics between former partners are just one reason why stepfamilies may struggle to blend. Like anything else in life, timing matters. Stepfamilies form at different times of members' lives. Some form when children are young, some when they are teenagers, and some when they are fully mature and living on their own. Stepfamily members may not share the number of experiences needed to form deeper attachments. It's not that some stepfamily members don't like each other. They just don't know each other. This is a real issue for many children who split their time between two households after their parents' divorce. Spending a limited amount of time in one place can make it difficult, if not impossible, for them to form close relationships with all family members. One man named Jason described his experience to me. It was a huge adjustment when my dad remarried. I had to adjust to a different neighborhood, different house, a different room, different rules, and a different life. My life was turned upside down. My dad was now spending more time with his new wife and her kids than he was with me. He adjusted to the changes much more quickly than I did, probably because he saw them on a daily basis and I only saw them 4 days a month. Eventually, Jason grew accustomed to spending time in this new household. He didn't mind that his father formed a closer relationship with his stepmother and her children than he had with them. He just wanted to make sure he and his father stayed as close as they had been when he was younger. So Jason suggested to his father that they go out to dinner by themselves every so often. His father loved this idea, and they made a bi-monthly ritual of going to their favorite barbecue restaurant together. Spending only a little time with step-parents is just one reason why stepchildren resist close relationships with them. They may dislike the changes in their routines and lives brought upon by their parents' divorce or a death, and they may be less than enthusiastic when their parent commits to a new partner. They may fantasize that their parents will get back together and resent their step-parent for preventing this dream from happening. Even adult children whose parents have been divorced and remarried for decades may still hope their parents will reunite and thereby keep their step-parents at arm's distance. Other stepchildren maintain an emotional distance from their step-parents because they believe all relationships are temporary and fragile, and they don't trust their parents' new relationship will last for very long. They don't want to get close to a step-parent and then suffer another emotional loss when the relationship breaks up. Some stepchildren feel very protective of their biological parents, in particular their mothers, and believe they are betraying or rejecting them if they form a close relationship with their step-parents. Stepdaughters, in particular, resist bonding with stepmothers. In addition to feeling intense loyalty to their mothers, they can feel competitive with their stepmothers for their father's affection. They may interpret their stepmother's activities, such as cooking and cleaning, as taking their place in the family, and consequently develop hostile feelings toward her. In a landmark study, researchers interviewed 1,400 families of divorce and studied them for almost 30 years. They found that only 20% of stepchildren felt close to their stepmothers. Another longitudinal study of 20 years found that only about 1/3 of adult children thought of stepmothers as parents. Half regarded their
Sample complete. Ready to continue?